Good evening. My name is Bridgette Baker, and I'll be your webinar producer for this evening's event. I am pleased to introduce the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Inc., National President Elizabeth A. Jones.
Good evening and welcome to NCBW Small Business Week as we celebrate, educate, and inspire Black women business owners and entrepreneurs. NCBW is a 41-year-old advocacy organization with a network of 61 nonpartisan and nonprofit chapters across our nation that advocate on behalf of Black women and girls to promote leadership development and gender equity in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. I am honored to bring greetings on behalf of the National Directorate and all of the activist women that comprise the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated. NCBW's National Economic Empowerment Committee has created a fantastic learning opportunity week with you in mind as new and seasoned business owners and emerging entrepreneurs. Please take advantage of the knowledge, experience, and remember, no question is too small. I am pleased to introduce NCBW's National First Vice President of Programs. She has served NCBW at the local and national levels for over 25 years. She is a member of the Metropolitan Atlanta chapter, a retired Fulton County Schools System Administrator in Atlanta, Georgia, a Golden Life member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and a Ben Hill United Methodist Church member. Members and guests, First Vice President Minnie Miller.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam President. It is my pleasure to introduce the chair of this powerful Economic Empowerment Committee, Chair Belinda Walker. She has a long track record in the advocacy and community service arena as a servant leader, while enjoying a long career with State Farm Insurance Company. She is also a member of the Metropolitan Atlanta chapter, where she has served in the following positions: First Vice President of Programs, Second Vice President of Fund Development, Chair of Health Committee, and Chair of the Leadership Summit Committee. Currently, at the national level, she is completing her third year as Economic Empowerment Committee Chair, and she has also served as the co-chair of this committee. Belinda is also a member of the nominating committee. I will now turn the webinar over to Chair Belinda Walker.
Good evening, and I'd like to first of all thank our illustrious National President, Elizabeth Jones, as well as our National First Vice President of Programs, Minnie Miller. It's such a great opportunity to serve this great organization with such great leadership. Well, tonight it is my honor and pleasure to continue this great week of National Small Business Week, our webinar series entitled Elevate, Minding Our Businesses. This is our third annual event, and I'm so excited about the opportunity that it leverages to elevate, educate, and empower Black women-owned businesses and entrepreneurs. With that being said, I'd like to introduce our speaker for tonight, and I think everyone can glean something from tonight, whether you're a current, long-term, or aspiring business owner. Our speaker tonight is Lindsay Sims McGee. Lindsay is a founder and CEO of Predictable Results Marketing, Ohio's Grow with Google digital coach. She holds multiple Google certifications and is the lead faculty for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Women program locally and a professor of marketing at Baldwin Wallace University. She is an entrepreneur, educator, and coach with a knack for reducing noise and increasing digital literacy for individuals as well as organizations large and small. Lindsay, we are looking forward to you and your presentation that we are entitling Game Changers, Strategize and Plan, Content Planning for Small Business, using Google Sheets to plan 90 days of video, blog, and social media posts. Lindsay, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get us started. So you all, a lot of you are new to me. You all are here. I'm excited to chat with you this afternoon, this evening. And we're all over the country. So whatever time it is right now where you are, excited to be here and to work with you and chat with you. We're going to talk about project planning and actually mapping out an entire 90 days of content, because one of the hardest things as a small business owner to do is actually get ahead of your social media. And I'm such a huge fan of getting ahead of it that I'm actually going to teach you guys today how to use a really simple tool to do so. And on top of that, I have a template for you. So I'm going to teach you a little bit, but I'm also just going to do a lot of show and tell so that you can actually kind of follow along and help. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to do the things that I'm showing you to do. So with that, hi, I'm Lindsay again. I am the Ohio Grow with Google Digital Coach, but tonight I am your personal Grow with Google Digital Coach. And I am very excited about working with all of you. My information on the screen, if you want to screenshot it or take a picture, this way you can reach out to me directly. I am a free resource because, very fortunately, I have Google working with me to help you, Black women, us Black women, to actually advance ourselves, advance our businesses, and grow. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. I am more than happy to help. And like I said, I'm not charging any fees, just information. So let's jump into it. A lot of times when people look at a tool like Google Sheets, they think about project management. Now, I know that there are probably some very bright people in here right now who have project management certificates and maybe even degrees. And what I will tell you is that when you are doing your content for your small business, it does not feel like it's a project. It feels like it's a mountain or a marathon. And so we're going to talk about it a little bit strategically and a little bit more practically, right? So let's get the strategic stuff out of the way first. First things is that a project management tool, such as Google Sheets or things like that, can actually help you to plan things out, can help you move things along, can help you deliver your projects on time, and if you are using a tool, on budget. And so what I want you to be thinking about is, how do I take what it is that I want to communicate with and around my business? How do I take that and turn it into something that other people are going to want to hear and know, but do it in a way that doesn't overwhelm me, the business owner? That's what I mean when we see what's on the screen right now. It's not just about communicating, it's about making it functional. Now, if the idea of doing this for your social media might seem like a little overwhelming at first, you can start doing it for some other project, something that's maybe not as high stakes, right? So if you want to develop a fitness plan for yourself, or if you want to even think about trying to organize something that you already have pretty well organized, like childcare, using the tools that I'm going to teach you just to kind of think through those things might help you to really get an idea of how to use the tools so that it can be really effective for you. So thinking of everything like a project and not just, business, or not just the things that you're doing for your own business or for someone else's business as a project, that's going to be very, very helpful. Very, very key. So what are the main steps involved? The first is to plan. So you got to think through what it is you actually want to accomplish. Track. This is the spreadsheet portion of everything. I actually like to plan in the spreadsheet as well as track in the spreadsheet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then you can share it. So if you are on a team of more than one person, so if you have an intern or if you have employees who are going to potentially be doing some of this content work with you, you can actually map everything out and then share it with those people on your team. And I'm going to show you how the spreadsheet that I'm going to show you actually does that for one of the clients that I'm working with right now, where they're mapping out an entire big project, one little thing at a time, one blog post at a time. And that blog post is then, all the bits and pieces of social media that go with it, the videos, all of that is being worked on by different people on the team, while one core person is coming up with ideas and another person is coming up with the blog content itself. And so just working with other people can make this a lot easier. And if you are a solopreneur, as I am guessing several of you are, like I'm not exactly a solopreneur. I have a couple employees, but it feels like I'm a solopreneur sometimes. And I know that it can be difficult to outsource things. And so often I will use tools like Fiverr or Upwork. And even when you're doing that, you will need to share things with people. And so planning it out as if you're going to share it is another big tip that we're going to start with today. So what does it look like to come up with a plan? First things first, if you are challenged with developing things like plans and proposals and stuff like that, Google Docs has you covered. There are actual templates that already exist. So if you're thinking, oh, wow, I'm trying to come up with a social media plan for 90 days, I don't even know what that looks like. Well, come up with the proposal for it first. What is it that you are proposing to do with, around, and for your business? What is it that you want to promote? Who are you promoting it to? All that jazz. So in order to get into your planning documents, you're going to need to log into a Google account. My big tip here is if you were anything like me, you probably have several Google accounts. Maybe you have a Google Workspace account or Google Suite, as it used to be called. You have one of those. You might have one for your personal life. You might have one that's a spam catcher. I don't know about y'all, but I know there are several people who have those. So you just want to make sure that you're logged into the account that is appropriate, because what we don't want you to do is come up with this wonderful plan and come up with these wonderful tracking documents and then misplace them / lose them in the internet because you used the wrong email address when you were creating it. So make sure that you are logged into the email address that you actually want to use. And then once you're logged in, you're just going to head over to, if you don't have an account, you can go ahead and create one. It's completely free. You're going to go to Apps, Drive, and then from Drive, you're going to go straight over to Docs. You can either start a new doc from scratch or you can create a template. I am a big fan of show and tell, so I'm just going to open up a new tab here and actually show it to you. So the easiest way to do it for me is just to go straight to docs.google.com. I'm a big fan of Google products, and so I was using them long before I was a Google digital coach. So I knew all the URLs to all my favorite tools just off the top of my head. So docs.google.com is your tool or the space for your Google Docs. I'm actually going to drop that link into the chat. And let me see if I can share it with, I'll share it with the rest of the panelists. If you guys can share it out, Sabrina, share that out to everyone. That's the link to just your plain old Google Docs. Now, at the very top, I would bet most of you ignore this little top bar when you go into Google Docs. This is where all the magic lives, though. As soon as you hit that little arrow, I'm going to go back to it again. There's this little arrow up here that you can hit, and it opens up an entire set of documents. This entire set of documents are all templates. They are completely free, and all you have to do is click on them, and as soon as you click it, it will open up a new Google Doc for you with a brand new name and everything, and you can just start working on your new project proposal or your project plan using that document. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up the one that's called Geometric because I like being fancy. I like myself some pink and some purple. So I'm going to open up the one that's called, that was called like, I can't even remember what it was called, but it was a fancy name like Geometric. So there we go. So we have this document in front of us. Everything in here is editable. What you're going to want to do at this point is actually create that overview. Like I said, what is it that you want to accomplish? What are you trying to do with your business over the next 90 days? What do you want people to understand, know, care about your business over those next 90 days? Now, this is about the point where I would usually ask for everyone to come into the chat because I'm a big fan of the chat. So can they access the chat? If they can, that would be great. If they can't, then some of y'all can do it in the Q&A. I can also read that. And I would love to know, what are some of your goals? So if we're talking about creating content, what is it that you actually want to communicate to your audience? What's that, let's say, that number one thing that if people understood this about your business, it would make you money? Like, people would run and throw money at you if they understood that you did this. So if you can use the chat, go ahead and use the chat, put in there. I really want you to be thinking about this, because the idea is, whatever it is you're going to be doing your social media for or about over the next 90 days, it needs to be centered around the idea of what is most important to know and understand for your business. So that is what people need to know and understand. So you're going to have to go ahead and make sure you are communicating that clearly. So you have to think about what that thing is and know it for yourself. Okay, so now that we have created our little proposal, like I said, you can come in and do it straight from Docs like I did. If you are starting from your Google Drive, though, you're going to hit that little new button there. When you hit it, Google Docs is going to open up, and then you would just go create a new document from a template. So you've got a couple of different ways that you can actually accomplish this. So I've got someone, okay, good. You guys are actually doing it in the Q&A, that you help people do business development. That's it, business development and coaching. I love that. I want busy women over 40 to know that they deserve to be a priority. Dion, you mean the top priority, right? The top priority on their own to-do list. I love that. So that is the sort of thing that can be your overview of what you want to accomplish, right? So thank you, Dion, for giving that to me. Dion knows where my head is at, okay? So from here, you are going to, again, if you were coming at it from your drive, you're going to see the exact same templates that I saw. And there it is, geometric right there. So you could click on that one, or you could click on any of the other ones. They pretty much are the same. They just have different designs. You are going to rename it. And let's rename this one 90 Day Social Media Plan. There you go. And so now this one is named 90 Day Social Media Plan. And I'm actually going to come in here and change the name of it, put the date on here, put my overview in here. I'm going to make specifications. I'm going to identify my goals, because you got 90 days. What do you want to accomplish? So of course, Dion wants busy women over 40 to know that they deserve to be the top priority on their to-do list. So that's the overview of what she wants people to understand. What are her goals for her marketing? So does she want to increase her following over the next 90 days? Like, maybe she wants to grow her Instagram by 100 people. If, depending on the number that you're at right now, 100 might be a ton, 100 might be a small amount. It just totally depends on what's going on with your Instagram, right? Or maybe she wants to start a new YouTube channel, or maybe she wants to start writing a blog. What are the goals? What is it that you want to accomplish? And then under that specifications area is where you're going to put specifically what it is that you are trying to accomplish with everything that you want to do. In the milestones area, I would encourage you to put, what are the milestones on your side? The things that if you do these things, you know that you will be moving yourself closer to actually accomplishing the goals that you have set out. So if you have 100 new followers as a goal, then what is a milestone that you can know if you are reaching this, then you will be getting yourself closer to that 100 followers in 90 days. So maybe it is, if 100 followers in 90 days is approximately like 1.2 followers a day. So maybe your milestone is that you want to have more than 20 followers by the end of the next month or the first 30 days. That's very reasonable, considering that usually followers flow, meaning that you got to get a little momentum first and then they'll actually start piling on. And so if that is the case, then what does that look like? How do I get to that first 20? How do I get to my first milestone? So do you see what we're doing there? We're breaking things down into reasonable little chunks that we can actually try to accomplish. Now, when you are, let me skip through all these things. When you are actually doing this for yourself, I want you to do this as a way to get your head right. This is not going to be shown to anybody necessarily. This is just for you to start thinking about what this next 90 days means to you. And if you want to be very strategic about it, we just got done with the first month of the second quarter of the year. So we are, almost nearing the middle of Q2. So you can start working on this project proposal and this plan that I'm talking about right now. You can start working on that for Q3. So instead of saying pressure, 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 I need to start doing this tomorrow, don't do that. Take the next couple of months to actually figure out what the plan is for Q3 instead of trying to jump into the middle of Q2 running, right? I don't want anyone to do that because you will stress yourself out. And I know that Dion is also a fitness person, and she can tell you if you burn yourself out too early, it's just going to be over. Like, you're just not going to want to do nothing no more. And that works exactly the same way with any kind of marketing. If you burn yourself out, you are not going to want to keep going. So making sure that you're setting realistic goals, things that you know that you will be able to actually accomplish and want to accomplish. You shouldn't just set goals that are just, things that you think other people want. It should be something that you yourself wants to happen. And so making sure those goals are real for you and that the milestones and those are things that you actually can accomplish. And when I say can, I don't mean that if you don't accomplish them, you should be sad, but I mean that your milestones shouldn't be many mountains to climb every single time, because again, that will put you in a position where you really won't want to do it. You will feel like overwhelmed before you even get started. So take the next couple of months to actually go back. Fortunately, this is being broadcast on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it later. Come back to it again and again and walk through for yourself. Okay, now that I have this kind of plan, what am I going to be doing in Q3? And mind you, I am doing the exact thing that I'm telling you I am doing right now for myself. So this is not just me telling you what to do. I am telling you what I do. Okay. So once you have that main plan over, mapped out using your Google Doc, your 90-day plan, then it's time to start pulling the thing together, like the actual components of the plan. And this is where you want to build something like a project tracker. Now, instead of building a project tracker, because I'm a little extra, I wanted to build something that was going to be a lot more useful. So what I've put together is something more like a content planner. It works very much like a tracker. It also works like a planner. So we're going to see that in a second because it's using Google Sheets. So in order to create a good project tracker or a project planner, you're going to follow almost the same steps that we did in Google Docs. We're just going to do it in Google Sheets because very fortunately, Google Sheets already has template docs or doc templates. So again, because these are my favorite tools, I already know the URL. It is sheets. You can see I just typed the letter S in. It was like the first thing that came up. Sheets.google.com. I use Google Sheets all the time, and I am by no means a spreadsheet person. I was one of those people back in the old days of Excel who cried a little when someone showed me a spreadsheet for the first time. I was like, there are adult people who do this for a living. Aren't they sad? And now I'm an adult person who who literally works in Google Sheets every single day. I make them all the time. I love them so much. So that they were not sad. I was just a child. So now I understand the value of organization. So what I want you to do is head over to sheets.google.com. Matter of fact, when we create this little document, I'm just going to share it with you because let me go back one. Sheets.google.com. I'm going to have the link shared with you because, it already moves itself to a little back end. There we go, Sabrina. What you're going to do is click on that template gallery yet again. And in here, if you scroll down, you'll see project management. This is where all the fun stuff happens, right? So you've got Gantt charts, y'all. You got project timelines, project tracking, event timelines. They have all sorts of things in here. I just got married. So those of you who weren't here when we were doing our little introduction, I told them, I was like, I have to change my name on my thing because it should say McKee at the end now. So the reason why I bring that up is because they actually have a wedding planner in here. There's all sorts of really great tools that you can use that are just free. Like these are free templates that are available and you can edit them and change them however you see fit. Now, the one that we have as an example in the presentation is, let me go to it because I want you to see the exact one. this one, the event marketing timeline template. So that's this one right there. It is the exact one that is inside of the presentation. I have actually used this one for a class that I teach at Baldwin Wallace. I used it to help my students make a planner for projects that they were creating for marketing. So again, huge fan of these tools. I actually use them in real life for my classes. I use them for my clients. They're so useful. So instead of me having you guys fill this template out, I'm going to do a little bit more show and tell. I have a link here. I'm copying it. I'm handing it to Sabrina. Oh goodness, I hope I'm calling you the right name this whole time. Now I'm feeling like her name isn't Sabrina. It's some other. I hope your name is Sabrina, because I'm now calling you that. But the link that I just dropped into the chat for everyone to see, this link is to this document right here. What this is a content planner that is calendared out for the entire year of 2023. What you're going to need to do is make a copy of it. So you cannot edit this right now. Don't ask me for permission to edit it. Just go ahead over to File, make a copy, and you can make a copy of this exact document yourself. You're welcome. I'm going to show you how to customize it for yourself. So now you will have a template that I built based off of one of the templates that Google built, and then you will have access to your own content planner. So this content planner works a bit backwards. So if you come down at the bottom, you will see there's multiple pages on this sheet. You're going to go to the last one that says blog post database. Now, what this is a way for you to catalog the ideas that you have around the content that you're planning to build. So whether it is a blog post or a YouTube video, whatever that longer form content is that you're going to put all of your, not all of your eggs, but a lot of the content or a lot of the meat of your business is going to be in those pieces of content, whether it's a blog or a longer form video. You're going to start coming up with titles for those things in here. Now, this is not a search engine optimization workshop, but I'm going to have to tell you, for my own sanity, search engine optimization is alive and well, y'all. It is still happening, and you should still be putting blog posts on your website. So I highly encourage you to start with blogs, because if you start with blogs or YouTube videos, so you do blogs and YouTube videos, which I'm a huge fan of doing the combo. But if you do those, then you will actually be increasing the likelihood that you and your business get found through Google search, because the more content is out there associated with what it is you do and your name, the name of yourself and the name of your business, the more likely when someone is looking for something that they can find you. And 100%, the more that people are actually like searching for you, they'll find you. So there are people out there who are searching specifically for Deion Jones, but maybe there's something in the internet that's stopping them from finding her name. But if she was putting out more content as a blog or putting out more content on YouTube, then she would likely be getting found more often for her own name. Okay, so that's my little speech about doing blogs. Blogs are great. Do blogs. Okay, so what this is actually just a planner to help you think about what it is, or a little database to help you think about what it is you want to accomplish. So, I'm going to use Ruth as an example now. So we have Ruth, who is building the pink house for survivors of breast cancer. Amazing work. And that's a lovely thing for us to start thinking about content around. So if she has a place for breast cancer survivors, then I want to think, what is it that someone who is either a caregiver for a breast cancer survivor or a breast cancer survivor themselves, what is it that they need or want from articles or videos, right? What information do they need? What information are they searching for, right? So what I would usually do first is head over to Google. I kid you not, this is just my process. I'd head over to Google and I'd start asking Google questions like, what are the top 10 needs of breast cancer survivors? Look, it fills it in for me. So now I'm going to go over to Google and start getting some inspiration. So what are some of the needs? What does someone need? What are the emotions? What do you give? So people are asking for gifts. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to start with emotion because I'm a high emotion person. I love emotion as a way to start connecting with people. So if I was Ruth and I was going to start coming up with ideas around this entire concept of doing marketing for 90 days, like maybe I want to come up with 5 different blog posts that are just about overcoming the anger of getting breast cancer in the first place, right? Because I have several people in my family and life in general who have overcome or succumbed to cancer. Either way, one of the first things they experienced was anger. And so reaching out and asking what are the things that people are actually emoting and what are they feeling? And then how do we deal with that anger? So maybe that's something that Ruth wants to talk about. Maybe it's not, but I'm going to show you a tool that is going to help us, even if we don't even know what to write about. We just know that we want to write about women and breast cancer survivors and anger. We know that that's the idea, but we need some inspiration. So this is Canva. Canva is one of my favorite tools. I'm going to click on a plain Canva doc. I'm not going to do anything special. And with this plain Canva doc, you can see this little circle with a plus sign in it. This is called Magic Write. This area here is one of my favorite tools that exist in the internet. It is better than ChatGPT because it always works. So if you are a fan of AI, or if you're starting to become a fan of AI, this is a great way for you to brainstorm without having to know all of the answers, right? So I am going to ask Magic Write here to give me 5 blog post ideas for women. I'm going to say women breast cancer, even though, yes, women predominantly get breast cancer, so do men. So for women breast cancer survivors dealing with anger about their diagnosis. So now I'm just going to hit enter. I just typed in, give me 5 blog post ideas for women breast cancer survivors dealing with anger about their diagnosis. Enter. And now I have 5 different blog post ideas that I did not have to come up with. 5 tips for managing anger after a breast cancer diagnosis. Look at that. The power of mindfulness, how to use it to cope with anger after breast cancer. Anger to empowerment, how breast cancer survivors can take control of their feelings. The importance of self-care and dealing with the anger. I know I can hear y'all practically shouting how good these are, and I did not have to write them. So what we're going to do now is just copy them, because these are ours now for us to figure out what we want to do with them. We're going to copy them and put them into this spreadsheet. So I'm going to delete this other stuff because you guys do not need that information, and I'm just going to hit paste. So now we have this one article, which is finding support. Connecting with other breast cancer survivors can help manage anger. Oh my goodness, that's a great one. That wasn't even one of the ones I read. So what is the keyword phrase for this article? And it is something like breast cancer survivor anger, right? Something simple. And then status. So I can show you how to edit this entire spreadsheet, because there's all sorts of fun stuff you can edit in here. Status is draft, posted, shared. That is, am I drafting this currently? Have I posted it to my website? Have I shared it to my social media from my website? Now over here, you see the term content pillar. I'm about to wrap it up and let you guys ask me questions. By the way, if you have questions already, go ahead and pop them into the Q&A, because as you can tell, I can see it. So go ahead and put those questions in the Q&A. So what is a content pillar? A content pillar are the areas that you know are topics for your clients, for the people who you're serving. So with breast cancer, there might be emotional support that people need, physical care that they need. There might be some self-care help that you want to focus on. There might be a few of those types of areas. So in this document that I gave you, you hit that little drop down and there's a pencil right there. you're going to click edit, and this is going to open up two things for you. It is going to open up data validation and conditional logic. Like all of these things are conditional formatting. This is one of the best things about having a spreadsheet, is that you can actually color code things and you can create drop downs for yourself that are about the topics that your clients care about. And so for me, I'm going to put in emotional support. And when I say for me, I mean for Ruth. So emotional support, you can say mental health, which is not exactly the same thing. We can say physical support. So people who need help with figuring out how to recover physically, you get the idea. So I am going to have those three things in here, and I'm going to hit done. It asks me now, do I want to update the other 14 drop downs? And I'm going to say, yes, apply it to all. And so now I have an entire new set of drop downs here. This is the amazing thing. I'm going to delete the rest of these because I don't need them. This is the amazing thing about just that little pencil. You can edit all of it. And if I come back over, if I want to change the colors on these to make them a little bit sunnier or just simply different than they were, I can do that as well. And it is going to apply it to all of them. It's amazing. So this is the two tools that a lot of people don't realize they can use, and they're very, very easy. Now, some of you might be wondering, how did she even get this little thing here in the first place? The way I did that was, if I'm going to click into an empty cell and I'm going to hit insert, and you're going to simply insert a drop down. When you insert that drop down is when you get the option to like change the topics and to add color and all that jazz. So anytime you want to do that, all you have to do is go to insert drop down, and you will get that drop down that I just showed you. Now, quick little run through the rest of this template so that you know how to use it. You got your database, you're going to fill those in with all these lovely new ideas that you're coming up with, or that the internet is coming up with for you, and then you're going to head over to the planning section. In this planning section is where you have the calendar day, the day of the week, the content pillar. So this is where you would put that emotional support and all that jazz. The title of the article or the video, the keyword phrase as a reminder to yourself what that keyword is. And then again, where does this content live? Is it in draft? Is it posted? Is it shared? If you have it scheduled because you got that far in advance, even better, right? So you have the option of changing any of these. If you want to add different statuses, you can. It's amazing what you can do. And then down here, I've also added in a couple of other things just to get you started. The idea of LinkedIn posts potentially, or maybe even Twitter. And in here, you would just write out what your caption is. What's the link to that blog post? What's the image or video that you're going to associate it? And what's the hashtags that you're going to use with it? This little database that I built here hopefully will be really helpful to you for planning out your content for 2023. So with that said, I have 80 million more slides, but these are the ones that I wanted to get through, was just showing you the thing and showing you that you can create a custom tracker. This tracker planner that I created here is completely custom, and feel free to edit it. The link is in the chat. And I think we'll probably be able to put this link on YouTube and Facebook as well. So that is it. I don't want to belabor it. I want to make sure that you guys get to your questions. So I'm going to stop sharing and go ahead and open it up for questions.
Lindsay, you have done an amazing job, and just thank you for that expertise that you have provided. Now, as Sister Sabrina Monet fills through our questions and prepare to submit them to you, I have a question. Can you recommend the best tutorial that beginners actually can learn this on their own? I mean, you've done a fantastic job kind of breaking through, showing a crack through the door, but what would you recommend for them to continue their knowledge?
So the number one thing that I would recommend if anyone wants to move forward with, especially with learning how to customize Google Sheets and things like that, there's actually a YouTube channel called Grow with Google.
Okay.
And yes, that YouTube channel has a ton of tutorials on it that are very specific to every single project, every single type of template that's like available, whether it's Google Docs or Google Sheets, things like that. There's a bunch of different webinars that are longer form than this one even, and just lots of great information. And you'll find me on there as well, because I'm, again, a Grow with Google digital coach. So you'll see some content with me as well.
Okay, so again, that is on the YouTube channel,
Yep.
Grow with Google.
Grow with Google.
Fantastic. And my last question, then we'll turn it over to the audience. So, our organization, National Coalition 100 Black Women, we're multi-generationals as far as our membership and our constituents that we serve. And you have some that are very active and knowledgeable of social media, the platforms, but we do have some that don't have the time or just aren't as familiar with usage of the different social media platforms like IG and Facebook and whatnot, to increase their social media presence and engagement. What would you recommend for them to expand that knowledge or expertise starting there, and then to be able to fluidly move into Google Sheets and the different Google platforms?
So there's one thing that I always recommend. It's not necessarily a platform, but it's an activity.
Okay.
So one of the things that any of us can do, because as much as you said, it's multi-generational and all that, I think that most people associate the idea of like being slower to take on technology with older people and all that. But I could tell you from experience, that is not true. I meet plenty of 25-year-olds who are like, oh my God, I hate social media. And I'm like, shut up, child. And so like, it's not at all age specific. But what I encourage everyone to do is find something you care about that is unrelated to social media. So if you care about, again, breast cancer survivors and their stories, if you care a lot about raising golden retrievers, like I don't care what it is you care about, whatever the thing is that you care about, you're going to take that thing and you're going to find someone on YouTube who talks about that thing. And then you're going to follow that person on Instagram. So that way, instead of it being a chore or something that you're doing because you're like trying to learn it. No. Gateway through something you actually care about, like something you would follow or watch regardless of where it is. And the reason why I suggest going to YouTube to find the person is that it'll be a lot easier to find people who resonate with you by watching a couple of their videos, versus if you go out on Instagram by itself, it becomes a cesspool and you're trying to weed through it to figure out who to follow. Don't do that. Go somewhere where you can see them easily. And then from there, follow that person and actually see what they're doing on Instagram, because it will probably be impressive and exciting and encouraging, and maybe even help you kind of overcome the don't likes about whatever platform.
Great. Thank you. Well, we'll turn it over to Sister Sabrina Monet.
Thanks so much. And thank you, Lindsay. I also live in Google Sheets and Google Docs, but I found this very informative and I'm learning new things as well. I wanted to take it to Canva. Someone, you had mentioned this tool. Do you have to create a Canva account is what someone asked.
Oh, yes, you do. And of course, I should have mentioned that with the Google thing. I'm like, make sure you create a Google account. Yes, you need a Canva account in order to access the Magic Write. The Magic Write tool is a part of the paid Canva subscription, which is about $13 a month. This is also why I mentioned budget earlier, because one of my favorite things to do is flip back and forth between a paid and an unpaid Canva account, because they do not care. So if you are saving yourself some money, go ahead, sign up, get the paid account for a month. But in that month, be focused. Like, I know I'm going to go in and create 90 different ideas of blog posts. I'm going to have it help me come up with a script for my my first YouTube video. I'm going to help me come up with an outline for my first blog post. Like, know what it is you want to accomplish, because then it'll be well worth the money. And you can also use all the free tools. ChatGPT is completely free. It's just that I don't like it. It's not as reliable. It doesn't always perform well. And then Bing, as much as it's free, has very poor performance. And so I Like I would pay for Canva over using the other free tools.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And can you provide along those lines, can you provide the top two tips for business owners to maximize their social media marketing campaign when utilizing Google Sheets or other platforms?
Or any other platform. Okay, so top two, the number one tip is to not forget what your customer actually wants. And when I say what they want, I don't mean if you sell necklaces that they want necklaces, because no one really wants a necklace. They want whatever the necklace makes them feel, or how it makes them feel, how it makes them see themselves, right? So sometimes with social media, it's easy to get lost in the doing and forget the person you're doing it for. And then when we're doing our businesses every day, it's really easy to get lost in the creation of the necklaces and forget why you're doing it, like who's going to wear it and why they care. So I promise you, it might sound like I'm copping out by telling you to focus on your customer, but it is the one thing that if you did it, it would make your social media so much better. Just so much better. And then the second thing I would tell everyone, my second tip with getting started with social media, specifically if you want to use Google Sheets as a tool, is planning and scheduling will save you so much mental heartache. I have seen so many people get burnt out with doing their social media because they were instantaneously posting every post, meaning if a post went out at 11:32 a.m., it's because they were sitting there at 11:32 a.m. with their fingers on the buttons on their phone. I highly discourage you to do that, mostly because it will suck the life out of you and you won't have time to do anything else. And so the next tip is to use a tool to plan it out. What's the caption going to be? What's the hashtag? What image am I going to use? It might seem onerous to plan it, but it's way worse to be spontaneous. It's a way worse game, way worse. So don't be spontaneous. And Canva also can help with that, because Canva does have a scheduling tool inside of the platform. So if you want to use it to help you make graphics for your social media, you can then schedule those graphics right to your Facebook page, right to your Instagram, and it will post it for you at 11:42 a.m. so that you can be doing something else.
Can you go a little bit more into that detail about scheduling and planning? Is there, do you recommend like once a month or something going through and creating your plan for that month, or is it on a weekly basis? Maybe some quick tips on that end?
I actually do encourage people to plan like 90 days in advance. And I would say mostly because 90 days is a reasonable amount of time for most small businesses to know what's happening. Like most of us have no idea what our business is going to be doing in 6 months or a year. Like that's nonsense. And I can't stand it when people give that kind of advice to small business owners. I'm like, my business is subject to like 80 million factors, and all of them are things I can't control. And so unlike bigger businesses where your money can buy you control, we don't have that kind of money to buy like all the controls. And so not getting too much further out than 90 days is going to be fruitless, but too much shorter than 90 days is problematic too, because then you end up in a kind of vicious creation cycle where you're always, okay, now, like you said, do I do it every week? Do I do it every 2 weeks? Do I do it every? And I'm like, that's starting to feel a little bit too much like 11:42 a.m. Like it's starting to feel like a chore. And so I would say 90 days, and then as much as possible, schedule that 90 days out before the start of the 90 days. And then 2 months later, do it again. So that way you have a 2-month lag. You got 30 days to plan your 90 days worth of social media. So it's like, okay, it feels a lot less 11:42 now. Like it feels a lot less like it's instantaneous, a lot more thoughtful. And you'll still, during that 90 days, if something instantaneous happens, like you get a keynote speaking gig, girl, post that stuff. Like go ahead, but let the plan be there in the background so that you're not literally waking up on a Tuesday and realizing you haven't posted anything on social media in a month. And that's what happens with most of us when we don't plan or don't schedule it. Some of us plan, don't schedule, and then our plan just never got executed.
So true. Thank you so much. And are there any other products in that Google Suite other than the Google Docs and Google Sheets that would help with this?
I think one of the biggest tools is one that we didn't really cover, which is it's a part of the entire suite. It's not just one product, but the sharing features. So I like organizing everything into shareable chunks. Do you all mind if I share my screen one more time? Because I can show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna show y'all. I can't help myself. My brain wants to show. So I'll just show you.
We have time.
Please
So
do.
this is good.
Good. So I'm gonna go ahead into a just a standard Google Doc. I'm gonna go out to the doc itself. So one of the things I'll actually want to go all the way out to Drive so that you can see what my Google Drive is hilariously organized. So what I love about the Drive is the fact that you can do a lot with it. There's just so many things that you can do for organizing. So for myself, I'll go into my team projects and my client projects, because the client that I was mentioning that I was working on the spreadsheet with, I actually have an entire set of folders for each client. And then I create in those folders ways for us to organize all of the information. So I have a folder for every meeting that we have, because I record them so that they can all remember what I said and I can remember what they said. We have a record of conversation, essentially, all in there and recorded via Zoom. I have any keywords that we are all working on developing, and it's in a separate folder because those keywords apply to everything. I have all of the articles that we're writing in a separate folder. And then the main document, their content planner, is itself living outside of a folder, but in their total folder package. This is how I like to organize all of my folders. As we start creating new content, like right now, we are working on a set of social media images. So I can create a folder with confidence, because I know they're coming, of social media images. Now, this folder is just going to sit here, and when we actually create those images, they'll go in that folder. Why do I need them in the folder? Because over here in this nice spreadsheet, I have image/video. Once those images are in that folder, for every social media caption we create, we can go literally search, because Google has the ability for you to do that inside of a spreadsheet. And I know Sabrina knows what I'm talking about. You can add any link to any other product inside of, well, essentially anywhere, but specifically inside of Google. So if you have those living in a folder, then when it's time for you to link them, you know exactly where they are. You can go straight to that folder and then find the image that you're talking about, link it, and then you'll know where it is, so that if you're not the one scheduling this on the final end, the person who is scheduling it will know exactly what image you wanted to use and exactly where that image is. So now this becomes a whole next level proposition, because everything is so well organized, and it's only so well organized because I'm using a single Google Drive that has everybody in it. It makes my life so easy. That way they can add their images to their folders. I can add recordings. I can add keywords. They can add keywords. Everything is in here. And then when we refer back to this document, none of us is guessing. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that's perfect. And I noticed that there was a question or some sort earlier of how to place documents on the drive. So something that's not actually that you don't start in the drive. So uploading, I'm assuming they want to know.
Yeah, and the answer is, I can give you the exact instructions because I do it on such a regular basis. It's right click. And then when you right click inside of Google Drive, the thing that comes up is upload or create. Like, this pretty much your only options. You're going to click upload, and then you'll find the document anywhere on your machine. If it's on your actual computer, you can upload that document from there. You can also drag documents from one screen to the next inside of your into your Google Drive as well. I do that too from Zoom. At the end of every Zoom recording, I just let you know how Zoom renders the recording and pops open that folder. I immediately take that little popped open folder and drag it over to that Google Drive. That way it leaves that copy on my main machine, but then I have a copy now in Google Docs, and so does the client.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm not seeing any additional questions, so I'll pass it back to Chair Walker.
Thank you so much, Sister Sabrina Monet. And again, Lindsay, this has been fantastic. I must share that you were our presidential pick, I guess you could say. Our president saw you in another format, and she thought you were fantastic, and she definitely, hit the nail on the head. One question that I have, I just thought about, we have a couple of minutes left. When is the best time to post? Is there a certain time to post?
Really good question. So the best time to post is whenever you are available or have scheduled it, because there are algorithms that are going to actually determine when everybody sees the post. So the reality is, yes, there are actual good times. Like there are times when the majority of your audience is online and that sort of thing. Most platforms will be able to tell you what that time is if you look at the analytics, but you don't really even have to get that fancy, mostly because once you start posting, every platform respects two things. It respects content and connection. So once you start posting, you'll start getting seen more. That's the sad thing. We don't get seen after the first post and we're like, oh my God, just post more. Like you got to keep doing it. So the more you post, the more you'll get seen. But then also the more you like interact with other people's posts, the more your post will get seen. So doing those two things matter more than posting specifically at 10 a.m. or whatever time.
Okay. And one last comment. I mean, as you were talking about the benefits of the platform, one thing that I thought about is that we have chapters represented across the country that are viewing this presentation. And each chapter has their own projects, their fundraisers, their programming. So this platform, in addition to, entrepreneurs and business owners, would be a fantastic tool or resource to utilize. Can you kind of touch on that when you're a nonprofit and you have all these committees, projects?
It is amazing. That is part, I mean, I was guessing part of what Sabrina was talking about was this organization itself. And if you all are not currently, y'all, they're free. Google has 80 million tools for nonprofits and they're all free. And first of all, and then second of all, it makes it so that you really can share. So when I said creating that folder system, that's just one of the many ways you can share within documents. And it makes it a lot easier than having a really long email thread that has everyone mentioned and this person's dropping off and that person's there. It's a lot easier to just pull together a folder in Google, put everybody on it, and then give everyone little comments that mentioned them. And then that way they get a notification via email. Someone has mentioned you in this folder on this document with what their comment is so that you can see that independently, right? It's amazing. So I would highly encourage using it for big team projects. And then for every single one of you, you use that content planner to actually map out the content for the chapter. Like there's that too.
Exactly. Well, I just received notice. We've got several questions all of a sudden to pop up. I know you provided your contact information and how our viewers can reach out to you for free. Yes. So if you can drop that, if you haven't already, your contact information in the chat box, that would be fantastic. And as you do that, I want to go ahead and again, thank you for your expertise. I hope and I know that all of our viewers have gleaned something, and actually this has encouraged them to get on, do those blog posts. One key factor you talked about is being, found in Google search, that are conducted. The more content, the higher the probability that you will be found in the search. So I got a star next to that. I definitely captured that. And I hope that we can have you back again for another session, because we know that you have a wealth of information and we so appreciate it. So thank you, Lindsay Sims McKee. And we want to thank our leadership, National President Elizabeth Jones, First Vice President Minnie Miller, our sponsors, and last but not least, probably one of the hardest working national program committees, my illustrious National Economic Empowerment Committee. We want to invite everyone to join us on Thursday, where we will have Goldman Sachs as our presenter, we will have a speaker from Goldman Sachs to actually talk about the 1 Million Black Women Investment Initiative. You do not want to miss that session. That is our last and final webinar. With that being said, I would like to thank everyone for joining us. Make sure that you share your feedback at the conclusion of the week. You will receive a survey. It's important for us to get your feedback so that we can learn how we can make this better and what you enjoyed about this session. Thank you again to our speaker, Lindsay Sims McKee, and good night, everyone. Thank you.